Hello viewer and welcome to the final episode of the F1 2012 portion of the F1 Mega Career. You join me at COTA for the United States Grand Prix. P10 was our objective in qualifying. We ended up P6, a second and 3/10 ahead of our teammate heading into the race here at COTA. And with the championship already decided a couple of races ago, we're racing for Pride and the opportunity to drive in a Lotus for next season. So P4 is our target for this race. We've got a couple of places to, in fact, to meet that target. Plenty of faster cars ahead, so it's going to be quite the challenge to get that P4 position as we head to 5 red lights at the United States Grand Prix. Let's see how we do. Lights out and away we go. Vettel on our right getting a decent start, as do we, getting a tiny bit of ground on him at launch, but unfortunately we're just going to fall back as we head down into turn 1. There's a large gap down the inside with Webber and Vettel going a bit deep into the corner trying to defend from our teammate Paul di Resta. Button takes the position from him. It's going to challenge us for P6. Are we going to go back to the start of this Grand Prix? Webber diving to the right, almost going way to the inside of the corner. So has to dive back inside, giving us the position of P4 at the start of this Grand Prix. Vettel, Alonso and Hamilton are the cars ahead of us as we head through the turn 8 and 9 complex down to the left hand of turn 10 on our way to the hairpin of 11. Can we get a move down the inside of Sebastian Vettel? It's not looking, we're going to try and make the move, just about get it done. Looks like Vettel can't get the switch back, so that's us into P3. Can we get ourselves any higher on this podium? Let's have a look as we head later on into the race. Took quite a few laps to close that gap between ourselves and Alonso. Fortunately, they're both having a large enough battle that's going to allow us to close that gap. So Alonso once again diving to the inside as he goes down to turn 12 to get a move on Hamilton. We're going to follow him through and try and get the position, but Hamilton later on the brakes just going round back the outside once more, so he keeps that P2 position. So we're going to have to stay behind for a number of laps. Is there an opportunity to take the position in any of the following corners through 13, 14 and 15? It does not appear so, so we're going to stay in P3 for now as we cut ahead to 3 laps later. The first round of pit stops are going to begin. We follow Alonso through the pits, grazing our tyre on the inside barrier, trying to get as much of a run into the pits as possible. Maybe we can, with a good pit stop and a bit of luck, we can help see if Alonso gets held up in the pits by the cars behind. It's not happened on this occasion. We have been quite lucky over the course of the season where that has happened on a few occasions. We do have the opportunity now to put pressure on Alonso because we do gain some time in the pit stop and through our run on turn 1 on him. We are right through the back through turns 3, 4 and 5. Can we get a move down into perhaps 6 and 7? Not quite, we're too far away, and this complex of corners here is not one that I'm particularly strong at. I normally end up, as you can see here, going wide and then trying to get the position back, or the time back I should say, and then ending up making a complete mess of it. So by the time we catch up to Alonso, it is the end of the lap. We put it into standard mix because we're at optimal fuel level. We can't use any more, always going to have to go into lean, and that's not going to go well against these cars. We go down the inside, and just ahead, if you catch on the left hand side of your screen, Hamilton having a rare mistake down into turn 1, spinning out and having to reverse onto the grass to avoid contact. We take the position from Hamilton and Alonso at the same time, meaning we're going to get P1 for this race, but unfortunately I was used to following cars through 3, 4 and 5, got it completely wrong on just the amount of power I was putting down, went wide and had to give the position back to Alonso. So back down to P2 for us once again. As we head to a number of laps later, Alonso far in the distance at this point, and Button has become the McLaren challenger for P2, gets it on the back straight on the run down to 12. We don't have the opportunity to get that position back, which means we're going to finish this race in P3. Not bad podium for considering the team we're in, the challenges we had ahead of us, the cars who were challenging for position around us. It's very fortunate that Hamilton had that spin, otherwise I don't think we would have been on the podium today. Most important news is we beat Kimi Räikkönen in the battle for the Lotus drive, so we will be racing for Lotus next season, be that with Kimi Räikkönen or Grosjean. I do not know yet until I load up the 2013 game, which means for Force India, this is our last Grand Prix here at Brazil, so let's see if we can give them a good show as a parting present, as a thank you for the work they've done in our first season of F1. given us a car that has given us the opportunity to, on occasion, win a race. Number of podiums, I don't have the number to hand. If you do, please put them in the comments below, because I haven't been keeping track. Maybe I should have done for the purpose of commentary. But you join me in Q3 here at Brazil, at the Sao Paulo circuit. And if you hadn't noticed, we'd gone purple in Sector 1. Let's see if we can follow that through Sector 2, which historically has been my weakest sector on the track, being that is the one with the most corners, and that's not going to bode well for Sector 3, because that's when the car doesn't perform well, because it's mostly a straight line, and being as we don't have the fastest car on the grid, we need as much time gained through Sector 2 as possible. So we're around turn 11 down to turn 12, we should see where we're at in Sector 2. Purple in Sector 2 as well, but only marginally, look at that. We are 200ths and 5,000ths faster than the original purple Sector 2 time, so let's see what we can do down in Sector 3. This is where we are going to lose the time, considering the power deficit between us and the top cars. We cross the line in P4. Not a bad result considering the car. We've got plenty of challengers around us who are going to be doing plenty more during the race, and we meet the team's objective of P8 in qualifying. So let's move on to the race, our final race with Force India. Let's see what we can do to make it one to remember for the team as a nice thank you as we leave. P2 is the objective. They really want us to give them a special result on our final race with them. As we head to the 5 red lights here in our final race of the F1 2012 season. It's been good, I hope you've enjoyed it, and let's hope I can give you one last race here in F1 2012. Lights out and away we go. Webber just ahead in that P3 position. We're going to look down the inside, but he just starts to cover it off, but doesn't close it off enough. We dive down the inside, we get the position from him. We're going side by side down through turn 3. We've got the inside, we've got Alonso ahead. We're going to move into his slipstream hopefully to get away from Webber, who's going to have to defend from the cars behind him. We gain such an advantage over Webber that P3 is looking pretty secure at this point, as Alonso looks to make a move on Vettel, doesn't quite get it, which is going to push him back into us. Can we make a move down through turn 3 and then this straight down into turn 4? Let's see. DRS not available this lap, so we're going to have to do it on slipstream. We get right behind Alonso as we head down into turn 4. Vettel just ahead. There is the gap there. We look down the inside, but Alonso better on the brakes. We do have to brake a little bit earlier to make sure we hit that apex of the corner and give space to Alonso, so we don't get the move just yet. As we head down to turn 1 once more, Alonso going around the outside of Vettel, who falls back into our grips. Can we get a position and put a move on around turn 3 at the end of the straight? DRS available this lap, it is lap 3. We've got the DRS and slipstream on Vettel, such an advantage over him that we're going to go side by side into turn 4. Unfortunately, yet again, we may have got past at the entry to the corner, but this occasion, instead of braking too early, we brake too late, sail wide, and that allows Vettel to go through, and Button challenges for position. We managed to hold him off for now. As we cut to the end of the lap, Vettel is still ahead. We've got a beautiful run out of turn 13, round 14. We're going to look at turn 15 to get the move done. Vettel cuts it off, and we don't want to cut the corner by going through the pit lane, but we just managed to keep the momentum going and get the position into turn 1. Alonso ahead. Vettel with a quick comeback as we dive a bit too deep into turn 1, but we keep the position round turn 3. And we get the DRS as we head down to turn 4, which helps us keep the position. Alonso ahead. Can we recreate that move on Vettel, on Alonso? Not quite. We have to go round the outside, almost dipping our tyres into the grass to try and get this position from Alonso. And as we pass turn 15 and cross the start-finish line, we are at the end, or the start of lap 5. We are in P1. A slight mistake into turn 8 means we're going to go wide. Alonso comes up behind and misjudges the speed, goes into the back of us, loses his front wing. So that is him effectively out of the hunt for P1. Button is now the new challenger from behind. We pit at the end of lap 8 to come in for our pit stop. Our last pit stop with the team. Let's hope the team can deliver. They do indeed. A very fast pit stop of 3.2 seconds keeps us ahead of Jensen, Button behind, and we return to the track with no traffic behind to contest P1, and no one went for the overcut and taking P1 from our position. So it takes a couple of laps for Button and ourselves to get comfortable with the tyres, but unfortunately, as you round the corner of turn 11, we just dip our tyre onto the curb and then in the grass beyond. We dig our front wing into the grass and it splits, so we brought on some damage that we're going to have to take for the rest of the Grand Prix. It would not make sense to pit now considering how high we up are on the grid and those behind us. We're going to have to try and contend with this damage. And you can see how the damage is affected as we once again misjudge braking into turn 4 and we can't quite correct it because we do not have the downforce to do so. So Button takes P1, takes the lead of this Grand Prix. Vettel behind looking to take that position as well. And Sector 2 is really where we're going to feel the effects of this downforce loss with the result of the damage to our front wing. We're going to do our best. We somehow managed to keep Vettel behind as we head to the last lap of the Grand Prix. I don't know how we managed to keep him behind. There wasn't really any highlights, we just had the pace to stay ahead. Maybe it was the fact that it's the end of the season, it's not really vital that you have to overtake because the championship's already finished, Lewis Hamilton has already won. So we come home with P2, the objective our team gave us. So they're happy to see on our final Grand Prix for the team we have delivered on the objectives they set. In the Drivers' Championship we finish in P6, which I think after 5 or 6 races into the season that was our objective to finish, so we do finish ahead of Felipe Massa and more importantly those at Lotus where we will be driving next season. And speaking of Lotus in the championship, they are a significant 20 points ahead in the Constructors' Championship, so that is going to look good for us as we join that team next season. Should be plenty of opportunities to score more points. So all that's left to say as we watch the celebrations of Jenson Button winning the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final race of the season, is thank you very much for watching this season. I do hope you enjoyed. F1 2013 is soon to come. We have some stats here on screen detailing our achievements over the course of the season. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing because the next season, F1 2013, is just around the corner. You don't want to miss that. I've very much enjoyed making this season. I do hope you've enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed making them. So I won't hold you any longer. You've watched plenty enough this season. I'm going to have a little bit of a break for 2013. I'm going to stockpile some videos so they're going to come out well. Hope to see you then. If not, thanks for sticking around. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.